Hello, I'm David Hunt and welcome to The Art Hunter. My guest today, he is a Melbourne lad with strong influences from his family's background. Mostly an uncle, we'll get to there a little bit later, that was an important role model for him. Trained as a teacher, specialising in drama and theatre studies. He currently heads performing arts at Now, I was confused here. I always thought it was Melbourne Girls High, but it's actually called Mac.Robertson Girls High School. We'll get and talk about that later on. He also acts and directs, but mainly he's a singer, conducting a choir of Latin singers and a community stort there. Edgar, welcome.
Thank you, David. Thanks for having me.
Now, let's just clear up. Why did I always think that was...
I think it's a connection between the Mac.Robertson Girls High School and Melbourne High School. So Melbourne High is the boys' select entry school.
Yep.
Mac.Rob is the sister school. They were one school back 100 years ago.
Right.
And divided up when Mac.Rob, the confectioner, gave the grant to build the school, 1934.
Wow. And it's a beautiful Art Deco building.
It's gorgeous. It introduced modernism to Australia.
Right,
Yeah,
okay,
so
wow. So the real history
It's
in
actually
that...
quite a significant building.
Right.
Yes.
And we'll get back to the school a little bit later on. But tell me about the influence with your uncle, who was an opera singer.
I think that's so important, that there's just someone in your life somewhere to start you off. And so my dad's youngest brother, by 21 years, who was brought up by my parents, because his parents weren't around.
What? Because
post-war.
Post-war.
Yeah.
Were they here?
Yeah, and so my parents recently married, had a 9-year-old boy to look after. So he's more like my older brother than my uncle, even though he's my dad's youngest brother.
Right, okay.
And, you know, the cool uncle that you have. And he was always in performing arts. He was clock musicals back in the day.
Yep.
Became resident with Australian opera. A voice from heaven, but also from hell. It is this really demonically loud, chocolatey voice.
Hold on, you've got a loud voice as well.
It's somewhere in the family. I get told to shut up a lot, okay, because I'm too noisy. So Uncle John was always performing, putting on shows with friends.
Yeah.
I was always the tiny little tacker, so interested in it. But I also had piano lessons from 7 years old.
Wow.
So I'd be accompanying him by the time I was 12.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in concerts and things.
Wow.
So there was the connection there. And you just get to see so much. So what would happen in teen years, when he was resident in Melbourne for a whole season, company rush to the opera, 1 hour's notice, be at the Princess Theatre, that's pre-Art Centre, back in the early 80s, late 70s, and you'd see the most amazing performances on earth for Melbourne at the time. Yeah. And I was pretty much more wrapped up in the production, in the set, in the lighting. Yep. I wasn't an opera aficionado yet, but that came later when I found my voice. But that's another story.
Okay. Is he still alive?
No, unfortunately, Uncle John actually got aggressive early onset Parkinson's. Oh dear. And he had to pull out of the Melbourne ring cycle. He was going to play Alberich in 2013. Oh wow. At only a month's, 2 months notice, and then passed away 2019. Oh,
that would be sad time for you.
It knocked the wind out of everyone's sails. Yes. Because still, he was such a giver. He actually gave so much time for the next generation in every way, and all his scores, which you can't hardly read for all the annotations, have been willed now to Warwick Fife, who is now Wotan's and Alberich's in Wagner operas. So John Wegner became very much involved with Wagner, and that's a family joke. He sang in Bayreuth, La Scala, Covent Garden, but was generally based in Germany or back in Sydney. Wow. And interestingly, his widow, beautiful Auntie Mignon, lives in Sydney, and she's just about to sponsor a scholarship in his name with the Melbourne Trust, which I'm going to in March to see.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and
wow.
that's really good. So the memory lives on.
Yeah. Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
So when you left school, teaching, was that
teaching? I did an arts degree, Melbourne Uni, but it's sort of teaching was always there. Interestingly, my older brother and sister had both trained as teachers, one PE and one science psychology. I'm English music was my original, but I drifted into drama teaching. It wasn't actually a subject at school when I was young, but now it's developed. Australia is one of the leaders in drama education. A lot of other places around the world have great co-curricular theatre programs, things like that, but as a curriculum subject, and Victoria especially, because we have 2 VCE theatre drama subjects. One's called drama and one's called theatre studies.
Right.
Which is unusual, firstly in Australia, but then the whole world. Theatre studies is script-based. Drama, you write the scripts.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I also teach IB, International Baccalaureate Theatre, at Mac.Rob now, which is a fantastic subject.
Wow. Because I wanted to speak to you about being the drama teacher, teaching theatre at school. What's it like? What are the kids like? Are they coming to you because of the importance of what is available here in Melbourne?
Yeah, it's a really interesting subject, and because I'm at a highly academic select entry school where 300 students do maths and chemistry at year 12, I can hardly sustain a drama theatre class because not enough kids choose it. We do have a huge co-curricular program. There's some photos here from productions. But the kids who choose it live and die for it. They're so focused, not particularly that they want to be performers or directors, but it's the pure drama, I think, more than perhaps, I shouldn't say this, but music or visual art, you are the instrument, you are the performer, rather than playing an instrument or using other art materials. So the connection between the person and the craft, the art, is immediate. It's also quite challenging for that aspect. Some kids, they have to really get a good sense of themselves over the years that they study it. Yeah. Fantastic subject at senior year levels.
Yeah.
Not enough kids choose it. I wish there were more.
How long have you been doing it at this school?
Mac.Rob, about since 2010.
Right,
That's a few years. I've been teaching 30-something years.
Right. Oh, you're old.
I'm old.
No, you're not. No, you're not. So what is it that keeps you still excited and stimulated by what you're doing?
That's a really cool question. Once again, I said it's purely creative, and that's my part of it as well as classroom curriculum, VCE, or our school only starts at year 9. We don't
that's right.
We don't have year 7.
High school,
And it's also the creativity that goes into putting on productions or working with the students to bring out their creativity, and knowing over years and years developing, like it was pretty rough at the start at a rough school elsewhere in Melbourne, trying to manage a drama class, especially of year 7s or year 8s. That was, I've done my hell.
I can imagine. I have a
place in heaven, but this is...
no, you don't. Right I hear you're a naughty boy.
Right now, I'm in such a wonderful environment that's really supported by the school itself. I know not every drama teacher has that luxury, that the school absolutely, in every way, they give me time and in lieu to put on productions, which is more important than money for a teacher, that you actually are acknowledged. Actually, you spend all those weekends, rehearsals, putting on the show, and we'll give you exactly that.
And also the support where you actually had to get permission from...
Isn't that interesting? That's a newbie. That's new for me. When you asked for the interview, the new day and age, I asked my principal, she had to get permission from the media unit of the Department of Education for me to be on here.
Wow.
I haven't had that before. It's new.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be allowed.
We
wouldn't be allowed to talk about the school per se.
Yeah.
But you must link up with somebody else, and I know because you've told me off screen. Who do you link up with to put on productions?
Okay, so that's actually one of the best aspects of my life is collaborating and collaboration, because my colleague at the boys' school at Melbourne High and I, for the last few years, and different colleagues who have worked there, we've actually taught, co-taught classes, but we also co-produce and direct productions. So can I point behind me?
Yeah.
There's Metamorphoses by Mary Zimmerman with the swimming pools there. And that was done at Melbourne High and co-directed with Joan Morgan. And right now I have Kelly Simpson as my colleague at the boys' school. And we just feed off each other. I'm great with directing for emotion and character, and Kelly's just brilliant with the details of design and making sure every lapel button is exactly right.
So, what, you know, like the small group that you have that you're teaching at the girls' school, are they focused? Are they dedicated at what they're doing?
Absolutely. They will stay longer after school. It's a bit of an iceberg subject where the little bit above the water is what you have as class time. Then they have to actually get together. Because theatre studies, you actually have to produce a play.
Yeah, like, but Edgar, that's the same with anything in the arts.
Anything in the
arts.
arts.
Like you only see the little bit, but all the work that goes on underneath.
And not every student knows that. Some kids perhaps like the idea of theatre, drama, and perhaps other art subjects, but are a little terrified by the commitment required. So even though they'd flourish in it, I suppose.
Yeah.
So class production for VCE year 11 and 12 this year, where I've just come recently from a rehearsal of A Servant of Two Masters by Goldoni, full Commedia dell'arte. We're having a ball, because the intention is just to be funny. What is going to be funny, with paying homage to the original text as well. And the school production that we're doing with Melbourne High later in the year, once again a bit of a classic, is Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing.
Now, how important to a theatre person like yourself, teaching theatre, is Shakespeare these days?
Interestingly, I'm a bit of a Shakespeare aficionado. I've got a few stories. My first major production at Mac.Rob, 2011, I actually put on a full production of Hamlet.
Whoa.
And we set it in Mad Men, 1950s decor, because that suits our deco hall and all that, and Mad Men, Hamlet. And the lead actor went on to Whopper and became an acting student and actor. So
well, how proud are you about that?
I'm like a proud parent. Like when I hear back from past students or alumni, not a lot go into performing arts. A few have gone into writing, some into filmmaking, but it's just so good to hear. That is the cherry on the top. That's the reward.
Yeah.
But look, even if they don't, they've had a great experience during their school time. It's the one thing they're going to remember. They're not going to remember the maths test. They're going to remember, what's that one? Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yeah, and building the sets and
all that,
and working out costumes. It's the fourth, as you said, it's that little the iceberg on top, but it's everything that goes underneath.
And we have a whole mentor system for crew. The crew who are always, they're like a well-oiled machine in the dark, because they just make sure everything is seamless with the production. And that's such a thrill. That's part of my job as well, to manage crew.
And who are they? Are they?
It's up to you. It's students. It's all students.
They're not studying anything in that
No, they do it
realm?
all given of their own time.
Right, okay.
And they, over the years, you acquire a little bit of tech equipment and maybe something else, and you look after it. And we've got the mics and a student will be very particular making sure the miking for a musical is scratch-free, is bump-free. And you go, that's because they're really proud of what they do.
Yeah.
And that's really special. The same with the lighting guy or girl, and set painters, as well as, of course, the actors and the musicians. That's the best thing about our schools, that for musicals, we try and have orchestras that are as large as possible.
Where do you get them from?
All the kids. We have so many Amos-trained violinists at our school before they even arrive.
Wow.
So we try and have full string. So we try and find shows that aren't just a rock band, that give as many kids the opportunity. And that's really special as well.
Wow.
But getting the sound design with an orchestra, with everyone linked in. It's hard work, but it's so fulfilling.
Yeah,
It's,
and
it's
what
you
do
live for.
what do the parents say when they come along to
They're-
a production?
Usually gobsmacked by the level, because it's not a teacher saying you have to do this, like this, or, there'll be consequences. It's the kids taking pride in their work. And also that a lot of them have really, really good skills. We're not the best dance trained group at our schools, but singing and orchestra are just phenomenal. I had 6 zeros girls audition for the single role of Anastasia last year.
Wow.
So I could be very choosy.
And now, what happens with theatre that's on here in Melbourne Theatre Company? Do you encourage them or do you take them?
Look, it's part of the VCE and IB courses. So
Okay.
they actually have to analyse a production. There's all different theatre companies. Put up what they're showing, and it's actually on the written exam at the end of the year.
Oh.
So what's really interesting is that the students from my cohort especially really enjoy the much more fringe independent than the large, big Disney.
Okay.
So we saw Theatre Works or
something here at the Alex?
La Mama, or I haven't been to the Alex yet because you sort of have to have a lot of matinees during the week for schools to attend.
Okay.
And so La Mama, a tiny little productions, and they're so involved, it's visceral, and the kids are amazed by that. Look, there's also on the list Wicked or Harry Potter when it was on, so they see the big spectacle, but they really, really enjoy the immediacy of really, really small scale theatre.
Yeah.
And they've never seen anything like it before.
Yeah.
That's really the education.
Oh, so a lot of the kids don't go with their parents to the theatre and stuff?
That's called cultural capital, and it's expensive, and not always expensive, but it's difficult. Our kids come from, actually, a whole bunch of kids travel on V-Line to our school.
Wow.
Travel for 2 hours either way because it's select entry. So
2 hours?
Yeah, but a lot from Cranbourne to Craigieburn, and a lot are involved with their own cultural backgrounds, Southeast Asian, and do lots of dance and singing and theatre with those.
But how tough is it for kids travelling 2 hours each way? And then I suppose it's good study time, isn't it?
It's really full on. They make a big effort to come to our schools.
Yeah.
And that's why we're so privileged as teachers to be there as well.
Now let's talk about, were you going to tell
No,
us
we'll
something?
go to choir.
Yeah.
Because there's a big photo of me in my regalia.
I love the one I had to put up with the beer stein. Tell us about that, because your Latvian background, you were born here though, but your parents came here.
Yes. So interestingly, I was always into theatre, but I didn't have a voice. I went travelling in the 80s, and there was a chateau in the Loire Valley that was owned by the Latvian diaspora. This is pre-sovereignty.
Yep.
So before 1991. And I was there, and for the 4 or 5 nights I was there, I started singing all the folk songs, and generally a bass harmony down here. But, that's a drone. And I never stopped singing. So interestingly, I never thought I could sing until I was given the opportunity. That's 88, and then have never stopped. Before that, as a youngster, I did some folk dancing. I'm not proficient in the language. What's really interesting with choir, though, I'll ask for someone from the guru in the choir who's excellent with language. Look, what does this mean? And because most of it's metaphor, there'll be people from different heritage regions who'll have an argument about, no, this song means this. The birch tree and the linden tree represent this. And I'm like, I just wanted to know what it meant. So look, and then via conducting choirs, playing piano, singing, I've had the most amazing opportunities. First with the combined choir, which we're having our 40th anniversary this year.
What do you mean by combined choir?
Combined is Yalkdim Chorim, which means men and women's voices.
Oh, right.
And then I'm in a men's choir, which has only been around a few years, called Vesseris, which means sledgehammer. And we sing like angels, but we've got this whole, Viking warrior type attitude. And we had a concert just last week at the Brunswick Ballroom with the Lost Clog, the Lithuanian group. So
did you start that group here?
No, my friend Roberts did, yeah.
Right, but he knew that you would be part of it.
Yeah. And his wife Sandra is our main vocal coach, and she plays the piano, and so when she will conduct us, and the Dinah, the combined choir, but also if she's playing piano, I'll be conducting. Once again, I've found, just thinking about it, the thread of my life is collaboration, and almost half a sentence, half a gesture with one person or another in front of a choir or playing piano or things like that. And I work really well with that, with also productions as well, with design and direction. I can't be the standalone director. I get great ideas from students when they're in a play. They'll say, how about we face this way, sir, and so whatever, Mr. Wegner.
Do they call you sir?
That's
the norm.
The tradition, Wegs, W-E-G-S, Wegs, pronounced with a V, but that's another story. It's a German name, even Latvian heritage. I find that at choir as well, that's really collaborative, and we really have a lot of fun because there's some real rollicking sing-along, folk songs, but we also do a lot of art choir stuff, which is really interesting because Eriks Eschenwalds is a contemporary choral composer who's all around the world. You'll hear him on ABC FM a lot.
Okay.
And during lockdown, we did choir on
Zoom,
and he popped in once, and he complimented on me conducting one of his songs, and I really enjoyed that. But,
fantastic.
So the interesting contemporary Northern European or Baltic school, it's called, like Arvo Pärt from Estonia.
Is Latvia Baltic?
Latvia's Baltic, yes. We're right in the middle of the Baltic state. So Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania.
Right.
But also, there's Gorecki from Poland, and it's this fantastic ethereal music, quite crushed harmonies, quite difficult to sing, but once you get it, you're on a high.
Yeah. I can imagine it would be an amazing thing.
Anyone have a look at Stars by Eriks Eschenwalds with the glasses and the water?
Yeah.
As well, that's part of the choir.
Okay.
So it's pretty exciting.
And do you travel much to go back?
Yeah, that's really interesting. Didn't for 30 years of singing, but since 2013, so that's 10 years ago, was my first time traveling to Latvia for the Latvian song celebration.
Well, you couldn't go before then, I don't
suppose. No. They're from 2000. A lot of people went during Soviet times as well.
Oh, did
but
they?
It was a very different atmosphere. 2013, it's a choir of 20,000.
I've seen
You've seen footage of that.
It is absolutely extraordinary.
It's amazing. You work for 2 years on the program. You get there, and it's the middle of summer, so it's light virtually all night and all day, of course, and you rehearse for almost 12 hours a day. The concerts go for 5 hours. It's exhausting, but it's such a thrill. And you have to walk for 1 kilometre through the forest to get to the sound shell. And they've just redone the sound shell, and everyone's in national costume.
With all the beautiful headdress.
And the girls always wear fresh flowers.
And they throw
their vineyards, throw their wreaths in the air.
Yeah. No, it was really, I couldn't believe how special it was and how many people were involved.
No matter how much rehearsing and performing you've done, because there's lots of side gigs as well, there's still the after party. And the after party is time scheduled till 6 a.m. And you can see video of people still singing sing-along songs, and the trams take you back home in the morning. Everyone sings on the trams.
Yeah, I love it.
If you look that up, you'll see people singing all day and all night.
Fantastic.
That's once every 5 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So you did it in 2013,
18, 2023.
Wow.
So, and now or the last few times, you have to audition. Your choir has to prepare, and from Australia, it's video auditions.
How many went?
And you get your result and a mark. It's quite scary, yeah.
How many went?
Well, what's interesting with Australia is we combined and formed a choir. People are flying from Hervey Bay, Adelaide, Perth, Tasmania, to form a choir. Now, when you think of the size or the geography of Europe, we're going to the Latvians in Latvia, which is 5 hours drive and you're out of the country, that someone has just flown from Rome to Riga for this audition rehearsal. So the commitment by diaspora, by Australian Latvians, is incredible. And Melbourne's a bit of a base for it as well. Great communities in other parts of Australia as well.
Yeah. What is it, Edgar, about Australia? Why are we this arts hub? Can you work it out? Like teaching, like
it's so
students?
Interesting, isn't it? Because we live for it. It's interesting. Perhaps the Latvian part started as a yearning for a homeland, but then the culture of it, if you're Latvian and your kid hasn't learned an instrument or singing or whatever or dancing, then that's not good.
Really?
It's so embedded, so ingrained.
Okay.
But in Australia, I think, it's my world, so I don't know if it's the whole population, but everywhere I turn, there's some form of art form, whether it's visual arts or media arts or.
But is it our climate? Have you analysed it?
Not at all.
You need to do a paper on it.
I think there is a PhD waiting in the wings.
Would you do a PhD at one stage?
I'm not the best student, okay? I'm not disciplined. I'm a great teacher, but I'm not a good student. So we'll see. There's still time.
Because I just am fascinated, because I'm not originally from Melbourne, and I've lived in Sydney a couple of times as well, being from Adelaide. But like the hub that Melbourne is, and the people that you meet here are here because of the arts.
That's 100% true. It's easy access to all the arts. I reckon that has something. And what I love about Melbourne is it's an onion. There's that layer that everyone knows about. It's commercial, it's big theatre or singing or music. Then peel away that one, there's another layer, there's another layer, there's another. What I love about Melbourne, and I'm a head of performing arts at a select entry school, there's so much going on that I don't know about. And I love it. I love that someone will say, "Oh, are you going to see this?" And I go, "How don't I even know about that?" Because I get all the information on whatever's going on. And I think, well, you do know what's going on, okay? I don't think anything slips under an onion layer for you.
No, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah. The Forum Theatre, for instance, all those bands that play there from all over the world. I have no idea who any of them are.
So interesting. Actually, the concert I sang at the other day, I wore my leather kilt actually conducting. That was pretty cool. With lots of Latvian bling, lots of 12th century brass work, reproduced, of course, by my friend. And it sort of went really, really well together. It was a bit of it wasn't a formal gig. Brunswick Ballroom. Yeah. And I saw, our concert was advertised, and I'm like, oh my God, the Soweto Gospel Choir are there. Yeah. Next week. Yeah. Next week. I didn't realise, and I'd never been in the venue before. Yeah. And once again, another layer of an onion. Yeah.
Did you get a good crowd?
It was full. It was great. Yeah. Right. It was a matinee, but it was great.
And who was?
Generally, it was community, both Lithuanian and Latvian, but also you want to open it up. And anyone who doesn't speak the language, there's enough explanation, or you just feel it as well. If there's the song about, the two doves are flying and the two boys went to war, you'll feel it, and neither came back. So there's Latvians are professionals at pain, one said, especially there's a lot of minor key singing, but there's also joyful aspects as well. And there's a good photo there where it's at Melbourne Town Hall with the Latvian Australian Festival, which is held every 2 years in a capital city. Yeah. And the last one was in Melbourne in December last year. And you were conducting? Conducting, and that's the final song. It's called Pūt Vēji, which blow wind. And it's a diaspora song. It's every Latvian sings it around the world. And so that photo shows me conducting the audience. And when
Oh, they were singing along?
as well as a couple of hundred people on stage, the whole audience joins in.
Whoa.
There's not a lot of dry eyes in that house. Yeah,
fantastic.
But it's moved on. We actually now, there's a lot of non-Latvians taking part in Latvian or diaspora Baltic singing, and everything's bilingual, and they get their tongues around the vowels and the diphthongs, and then it's really beautiful music. And as I said, it's either generally folk classic or this really interesting contemporary music.
Yeah.
And,
There's so much more we could talk about, but we've run out of time.
I talk a lot, don't I?
But it's interesting. It's interesting with that booming voice that you have. Yeah. Edgar, thank you so much for being here today and explaining to us a bit about what you teach, because I find that fascinating.
It's really interesting. I am in a blessed position. Okay, I really thank my lucky stars for it.
And how do you get to work? Do you walk, or because you live?
Shush, I know. My car's always full of props and costumes. So yes.
Whatever.
I know. I should.
Thank you so much for being on the show today.
My pleasure.
I'm David Hunt. He's Edgar, and we'll be back next week. And we're the Art Hunter. See you, folks.